So we will send out the recording afterwards, and it'll probably be tomorrow. So if you want to revisit, the video recording of the session, you'll have that, or share it with anyone, feel free to do that. But the recording did just start, so that is going, and we will make sure to send that out. Okay, I am actually going to go off of video while I just wanted to say hello to everyone, but I'm going to go off video just so I'm not, distracting anybody with my face, but I am going to share my screen so that we can look at Academic Writer together. I'll look at my super messy desktop there, but okay. So I believe you should be seeing the Academic Writer homepage now. There. So I'm just today, we're gonna mostly focus on references and writing, since those are kind of the most work intensive, most kind of important centers for you getting started out. This is an introduction, so I'm not going to be able to cover, everything in Academic Writer because there is so much. But we'll do an overview of each center. I'll try to just keep the Learn Center pretty brief. But a few things I just want to point out first on the homepage. So since we have a mix of people on this call today, it's kind of different how everyone accesses Academic Writer. So it might be through your online class, through Canvas or Blackboard. It might be through a library. It might be through your school's, writing center. So it's all kind of different across different schools. So if you do have specific questions about access, let us know individually, because it's going to be kind of different for everyone in the group. So I'm not going to go into too many details about your access. But if you have questions about that, where do you access Academic Writer? You can also always ask your instructor who told you to use this, or your campus library, or someone at your school where you heard about Academic Writer. Okay, just a couple other things here on the homepage. So the first time that you access Academic Writer, you also need to have your own account, your individual account. So that's just so you can save your work, like your papers and references that you add into Academic Writer. So once you've set up that account and you're logged in, you'll see your first name here next to the welcome, and that's how you know that you are fully logged into your account. A couple things under this welcome. There is, first, I want to point out our site help page. This is where you can reach out to our team for help, or if you have questions. So if there's, something that we didn't answer today, or if you think of something later on that you want to ask about while you're working in Academic Writer, go here to the welcome and click on site help. This is our frequently asked questions or knowledge base for Academic Writer. So we have several articles in here addressing common questions or issues that we hear from people. So you can access these anytime. So hopefully this is the quickest way to get an answer for your questions. So you can see things like, how do I enter an access code? How do I delete a reference? Those are just a few examples, but you can use the search bar up here and type in like reference, and you can search a topic or your question, and then you can see related articles to that. So like, how do I create a new reference? So then you'll see some step-by-step instructions on how to do that. Many of them also have a direct screenshot, so you can see exactly how to do that. So that's where you can find the quickest help here in our knowledge base. Then if you search through here and don't find an answer for your question, you can reach out to us directly. Come over here to this right side and choose Contact Academic Writer Support. These are our other products that APA supports as well, but just make sure to choose the academic writer. So academic writer support, and then just fill in this form. This form creates an email that will come directly to our team, and then we will get to your question as quickly as we can. So just type in the description, your question, and your contact information, and we will get back to you. Okay, so that's where, excuse me. Let's hope my voice isn't going on me. Okay, so that's where you can find help for using Academic Writer. A couple other things to help you when you're getting started with Academic Writer. We have some orientation lessons. You can get to those under the site help if you click orientation, or they are listed right here in the center. There's two of them. One is called Getting Started with Academic Writer, and one is Writing in Academic Writer. If I click one of these, they look just like the lessons that are in the Learning Center. So you can see an outline of what it covers. This one is just pretty high level. A lot of these are things that we'll talk about today, but if you just want to go through these on your own time, these are always there for you to refer to. But you would just click Start Learning, and then you will enter the full lesson where you can complete that orientation. And if you are using Academic Writer through your class or through a couple classes, this is something that your instructor might potentially assign to you. Also, there are some tours. So throughout the platform, you can see up in the top right where it says tour this page. This is basically just going to highlight features on the page. So just kind of what I'm going through, pointing out the welcome, the file cabinet, and just things around the page, pointing them out and just kind of explaining what they are. Speaking of the file cabinet, this is just where you can quickly access your work. So you can jump right into your papers, references, and then favorites are things that you basically click favorite next to in a Learning Center. So you can create your own little learning library. You can refer back to those things really easily. This banner up here may be where you found this training today, but we will periodically post different training sessions in the banner, so keep an eye on that. Okay, I'm going to scroll down to the very bottom. Since I mentioned, if you need help with APA style questions, specific, how do I format certain types of references? I like to show that this blog down here, so this blog link goes directly to the APA style blog. If you are not familiar with this, I would definitely, make a note that link is down there, or even bookmark this page, because there are a lot of articles about APA style, different formatting guidelines, and on this page you can also reach out to the APA style experts and ask questions about APA style directly through here. So just want to make sure you are aware of that the APA style blog is there. And then also there is another APA style website linked to the left of the blog. If you click on that, there's just some more resources here that are free and available for you to use for APA style help. There's even some recorded webinars, so you can visit those, and also just some style guideline things, style page setup, in-text citations, so some more resources there. And those were down, if you're on the home page or any page, they'll be in the bottom right corner down here. Okay, that site help page that I showed at the beginning is also going to be linked in the center, so you can get to that at the bottom or up here in the welcome. All right, so I think that covers the things I wanted to mention on the home page here. Now I'm just going to go right into the Learning Center, this first tab. Just to give you a quick overview of what you will find in here. So if you're using Academic Writer for your class, like I mentioned, you might have some of these items assigned to you for credit within your course. Or if not, maybe you just want to use this for your own, education, for your own learning. So there are things covered in here that are very direct to APA style, but there are also lessons here that they're not just completely specific to APA style. They cover things like research and general writing advice and also publishing. So if you eventually plan to, write a journal article and it's formatted in the APA style and maybe you want to submit it to a publisher, there will be help here also. So, thinking down the road, Academic Writer will be helpful throughout your, academic journey. So things that you will find in here, we have our quick guides, they're short lessons. Those will be more focused on APA style guidelines. And then the tutorials here in the middle, those are longer lessons, broader topics. So focused on things like research, publishing, like I mentioned. These will take a bit longer, probably about 30, 35 minutes, but it all depends on what pace you work at. And then samples over here. It's really helpful if you just want to see, if you're a visual learner and you want to see a sample type of paper, there's this whole collection over here, references, tables, figures. So those are there for you to use. But let me just click into the quick guides and tutorials. Though the quick guides are a bit shorter, they are formatted the same. So the lessons, the interface there is the same. But I'll just show you some of the topics that are covered. You can filter by topic up here, citing sources, mechanics, paper format. So those are ways that you can filter, or you can just browse through all topics. So if I were to click on like paper format, you can see just an idea of topics that are covered here. So like alphabetizing, basic paper setup. If you are brand new to APA style, this is a really good place to start. It's just going to go through, your basic formatting, line spacing, margins, all those things. The star over here, the green star, when you click it, that's how you add things to your favorites. And yeah, these are the quick guides. Let me just click into this basic paper just to show you what it looks like. Because oftentimes, if you're just using these for your own kind of education, learning, it's best to just browse through them, on your own time and just kind of complete the content at your own pace. And just find the topics that you want to focus on. But here you can see the outline of content that is covered in this quick guide. All of the quick guides and tutorials also have knowledge checks in them. So the knowledge checks with the quick guides will show up at the end. So it's just a little mini quiz to assess your progress with the information. One thing I will say with these learning objects, with these quick eyes and tutorials, it is important, especially if you are being assigned, if you've been assigned this as credit, to complete it within one browser session, since it will not, save all of that if you close out and come back. So do make sure to complete it within a browser session. But yeah, you'll just click start learning, and you can see that you will just scroll through the content at your own pace. And I'll flip through. You can go to full screen if it feels a little crowded for you, but just continue through. Some of the content here will be interactive, and you'll also see immediate feedback of your completion. So I've already completed 11%, and then you can see check marks next to the section as you complete them. So yeah, just wanted to give you an idea of what those learning objects here in the Learning Center look like, and hopefully they'll be helpful for you as you're learning about APA style. We've got 71 of those quick guide tutorials. There's 18 of them. And you can flip through and see the rest, all of the sample papers. The references are super helpful also if you just need to see, a type of reference for a certain type of resource. So like a journal article, you can just get the exact correct sample for that type of reference. So really helpful information in here. I am going to keep moving along. If you have any questions about using the Learning Center, just let us know. You can use the chat, or if you're using it later, just reach out through the site help. But yeah, the Learning Center is also searchable. So if you search, if there's a specific topic, type of reference that you want to create or look for, you can search up here in the search box. Okay, I'm gonna move along then, but let's see, did anyone have any questions? Should I pause a second? Helen, was there anything about the Learning Center yet?
Not yet, just about RAS files when we get to references.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a second. Okay, so now I'm in the Reference Center. So here in Academic Writer, the Reference Center is mainly for storing your references. So you need to add references into your account here. And then once you've created that library of references in your account, then you can add any of those references onto any paper that you create. So kind of like your first objective is to get those references into your account. So then you'll be able to add them to your papers. So once you do add references into your account, they're going to show up. I'm just going to click on Go to My References. They're all going to show up in this long list here, My References. So a few things to mention here. There are tags that you can add to your references. So that's what these keywords are that are showing up with this reference. So basically, this helps you link references together with those keywords or topics so that you can organize things and find what you're looking for. So like if I were to click on this tag trauma, then it's going to pull up a list of all of the references that I have added that tag to. So this can be really, what you make of it. You could use a class name. You could put all of the references for one class in a tag and link them together. A research topic, a project that you're working on. That's however you want to use that. That's just there for you to use. You can also go to manage my reference tags and see a full list of all of the reference tags you've created. You can click the little pencil, edit it, and you can also see over on the right side all of the references that have that tag added to it. So if I click it, then I can see a list of those references. So pretty helpful there. I go back. Another thing to point out, associated papers here. So you can, if I click this, I can see a list of all of the papers that I have used this specific reference for. So I've added this reference to a paper, it's going to show up in this list. That way you can see a big picture of, you know, how this reference has been used so far. And you can also help find what you're looking for. You can use these sort options. The default is going to be alphabetical by author, but if you could use like the date added, if you know that you added a reference, you know, yesterday or very recently, that can help you find what you're looking for. Or you can use the search up here. So if you know like the name of the author or a word from the title, you can use the search. So those are just a few ways to find what you're looking for in your references list. Since we don't use folders in this list, and that's just to avoid having duplicates of the same or multiples of the same reference over and over, because that could get really confusing because you wouldn't know like which is like the master version of a reference if you made edits to it. So hopefully this is kind of the best way here to organize things. And then if you ever want to make edits to a reference, this edit over here, this little pencil, if you click that, what you'll see is that it's going to pull up the associated form. And we'll look at this kind of in the reverse in just a minute. So every reference in Academic Writer has this form associated with it, and it's actually how you create references from scratch as well. So if you want to make edits, you have to go into the form to make the edit. But the really great thing about these forms is that, you know, they're developed by APA style experts. So you're really getting the best APA content information that's out there. And then the form, you know, does its magic and puts everything into APA style for you, basically. Okay, so let me close out of that one, and then I want to go back and I'll actually show you how to add those references so that you can build up your reference, your My References, and then you'll be able to add them to papers. So basically all you have to do is click Add References. You have 3 different options to add references to your account. The first option is Create. So this is using one of those forms like I was just talking about. So the first job you have is to decide what type of resource it is, since the reference will change a bit depending on the type of resource. So we have all of these listed out, you know, periodicals, books, audiovisual, media, websites. So if you are trying to create a reference for, say, an Instagram profile or photograph from Instagram, there are forms associated with all of these types of sources. So hopefully this helps to make it a little easier for you, even though I know that there are a lot of options. But let me just click into journal article. since it's a very common, of course, type of source that you should be using with your research. And you can just see the form like we were just looking at, but you will need to fill in all of the content that is specific to your source that you are using. So fill in the author, date, title. What's really helpful here is there are these question marks have guiding help. So anytime, pretty much anytime an academic writer, you see these little question marks, click those because there is some really helpful guidance there. So you'll see like examples, background information, things like that to help you out. So with the create, you will fill in each box. There's also a space for quotation. So if you have a source, you want to cite a quotation in your paper, you can save it directly in there. Makes it really easy when you go cite in your paper. There's also a section for notes. Those will be searchable in your references, my references. So if there's something that you want to, remember later, that will be searchable. And then those tags I mentioned here, you can add those here. So if you wanted to add a new tag, just add it here, and then you can see the tag has been added. So then it will link this reference to any other reference with that tag. But once you filled out everything, all you need to do is click add to my references, and then it will be in your account ready to be added to a paper. Okay, and then I know we had some questions about RIS files. So the next option after the create option is to import. So import pulls references from outside sources. So this is probably very likely a database or a reference manager. So databases like EBSCOhost databases, Ovid, ProQuest, those are examples of databases where you might be, doing research, finding your resources. And then from those databases, you would need to export what's called an RIS file, RIS. So this is a standard option through these databases and reference managers. So it is going to be a little different depending on the platform that you're using. So if you're using EBSCOhost, it'll be a little different, next time if you're using ProQuest. But just always look for, usually you'll go to like cite or export and export that RIS file. Basically that RIS file just is like a notepad looking document file, and it just contains citation data for the resource so that it can exchange that data between different platforms. But just always look for RIS file option, export from the database or the reference manager, and then save it somewhere that you can easily access it. So sometimes I would put like a folder on my desktop or whatever, works best for you. So you save it somewhere you can easily get it. And then you would come here, choose the file. I don't know if I have one in here. Let's see. ProQuest. And you would choose the file, hit submit. Oh, I didn't choose the origin, sorry. You have to choose the origin first. So ProQuest, and then I've got a ProQuest RIS file, and then you'll hit submit, and then you can see 1 out of 1 successfully processed. So that pulled in that reference. You can do multiple at one time. So export multiple references and then import them at the same time here. So you don't have to go one by one. Especially if you found like a whole group of references in one database. But yeah, definitely a time saver compared to the create option. The create might take a bit longer, but remember with the create, you're probably going to be the best learning opportunity as far as APA style goes, since the more you do those create forms, especially for different types of sources, you really will learn, you know, what is required for that type of source, what information, how it's formatted. So, you know, just keep in mind that maybe this takes a little longer, but it will help you in the long run. But the importing always available here as well. Okay, and then the search option, this is really only going to apply to you if you use APA PsycInfo. So PsycInfo database used, of course, maintained by APA. And so it just links together with references within PsycInfo, since those are verified, formatted in APA style. You can search. It's not going to give you full access to the database, but you can search for references. So you could search for like a keyword, an author, if you know that there's an author that you have articles that you already found and you want to use. This is a great, really fast way. Or if you just want to practice with some references, this is a really great way to get some references into your account, just so you can practice adding them to a paper. So you would just check boxes next to the references that you would like to add. Just a couple. Some of these are kind of old, but yeah, check the box and then just click add to my references. Okay. All right, I know we've covered a lot. Any questions about references, importing, RIS files, all that fun stuff? Pause a second. Okay. Well, let us know if something comes up, but hopefully, if as you are getting into Academic Writer, those options will work well for adding references to your account and building it up. So then once you do go in and create papers, you'll see that the automation with the formatting, I think, will really help save some time and help you really focus on, you know, the quality of the research and the writing, so you don't have to spend time getting hung up over adding a, you know, page number or properly adding in your spacing and things like that. Okay, so we've got just, I think, a good amount of time to go through creating a paper in the Writing Center. So last tab here is this Write. So I'm going to first, let's just look at this list. If I click on go to my papers, I'm just going to close that. This is where you can basically access your library of papers. So any paper that you've created, most of these have been, you know, demos. So they're just generic papers, but you'll see the title, the paper owner, since we have a collaboration feature that allows you to work together with your peers on one paper. So you could do a group paper. So this shows you the owner. That would be the person who created the paper originally. The role, that's going to be if you are, you know, the owner, or if you've been added as a collaborator. And then there's some details over here, things like you can see references, notes, people that are on the collaboration. You can download directly from here some helpful data about each paper. So then let me go through and we will start a brand new paper. So just a few steps to complete. You'll just click write a new paper. So this box that is popping up, this is a tour. There's a tour that goes through starting a paper and also throughout features of the Writing Center. So feel free to look at that, but I'm just going to keep exiting out of it. Okay, so first, we just want to start a new paper. The first thing you need is to select a template. So if you have been assigned a specific type of paper, or you know that you're working on a specific type, like an empirical, multi-experiment, if this is all beyond where you're at right now, don't worry. There's also the basic paper template, which is going to be blank, but it will still format everything in APA style. The thing with the types of papers is that it pre-formats the heading levels. That's the main component of the template there that changes a bit depending on the types of papers. So just keep in mind, if you're not sure about these things, don't worry about that yet. Select the basic paper. But these are types of papers that are described in the publication manual, and you can also see a brief description and also a sample. So you can click on the sample if you want to see a case study paper here, you can use that. Okay, I will just choose this multi-experiment. Oops, I didn't mean to click sample. Sorry about that. I meant to choose the template. Okay, next thing, choose student or professional. Professional, of course, intended if you are planning to publish the work. So it's going to include things like a running head, author note, abstract, those things that would be required for submitting for publication. The student formatting, it excludes those. It doesn't require an APA style that you include those things. However, I will say, sometimes your instructors might want you to choose a professional style, and that is going to be something that your school would have hopefully made very clear to you if they want you to format in this professional style. But if that hasn't been clarified from your instructor or your school, just choose student, and you can always add those things in later if you need to. So just choose student. Next, you'll just need a title, paper title. Exit that. You can always change the title also. So if you just need like a holder title, you can do that. And then just click start writing. And then you are ready to go with your paper. So all of the things like spacing, margins, those are going to automatically be formatted for you. Then we also have automated formatting for adding in-text citations, and all of your references have been automatically formatted also. So I'll just say you guys are super lucky if you're using this in your classes. I wish I had this when I was a student. So you're super lucky. But yeah, so we've got our sections of our paper. Up in the top right, there is related help. You can click on related help, the little question mark. So this is just kind of a side panel of guiding assistance for your paper. Things like general writing advice, how to format your headings, reference citations, things like that. So just remember, question mark, don't forget to check it out. Okay, and then as far as the headings go, since I chose that multi-experiment, it's already put those heading levels in place. If you want to edit a heading level, just highlight the heading, and there is a tool for this. It's so quick and simple. Click the headings drop down And then just as an example, I'm not saying this is the correct format, but just click it and it's going to update the exact formatting for that heading level, really just so you don't have to keep flipping back to your publication manual. So hopefully that saves you a few seconds, and just remember, every one of these things that's automated, all of those seconds can really add up and help save you some time. Okay, so we've got kind of the framework of our paper set up with our heading levels. Over on the left side, there is a outline that corresponds with your paper, so you can click through to different sections, especially if your paper is getting pretty long. You can just click on a section and it will jump to it. Let's see, we've got about 15 minutes. All right, I'm gonna jump over, since those are the steps you need to just start a new paper. Pretty quick and easy. I'm gonna jump over to one paper that has just some references added to it and some content, so I can show you like how to add a reference and add a citation. So here's my paper. There is a spelling and grammar checker. So if you see this colorful underlining, that's what that is. It says ABC. You can turn it off if you want, or make sure it's turned on. Also over on the left side, you might be wondering about a title page, since that's important for your papers. Over on the left side under Write, if you click on title page and go to title, it uses a form, makes it so quick and easy for you. So the title should already be there. Remember, we already created that when we created the paper, but everything that's required, your course number, course name, date. If your instructor tells you that you need to have a running head, then you can check mark this and add it in. Otherwise, with a student paper in 7th edition APA style, you're not required to include a running head. So you'll add in your info for your title page, and then under, whoops, let me keep scrolling. At the bottom, let's see, what am I doing? Go to authors under title, and then this is where you're going to put in your own name. You can see I've already added my name. Once you add a name, it's going to show up on the right side. So if you have a paper where multiple people are working on one paper, you can list out each author. Over here, you can also reorder how the authors show up if you would like. But yeah, you really just fill in the information for your title page. And then once you go to preview after you have everything filled out, then you can see how it formats your whole title page. We've got page numbers. Up here, I can see how many pages long the paper is. If I included a running head, it will be up here, and I can flip through, and I've got my headers here. I'm gonna keep flipping through. Everything's formatted with my margin, spacing. Then once I get to the references page, these are just references that if I imported them or created them using those forms, this is how they're going to eventually show up once you add them to your paper. So all of the, hanging indents are formatted, all the spacing, alphabetical order, all of that is automated. So pretty cool. Okay, so I know we're running down the time. It always goes so quickly, but let me make sure I show you how to actually add those references to your paper and in-text citations, since you can see a bunch of them. I've done a lot of demos on this paper, so it's looking a little messy now, but let me show you how to add a new reference. So if you scroll below the paper, these are all references that I've added, and I can also see if it's been cited. So if I want to add a new reference to this paper, all I have to do is click Add Reference. Then from here, I have a few options. I can search my references here if I, of course, have a reference in mind. So it's linking me to my references. So remember, you have to add it to my references first, and then you can add to paper. So if I scroll right down, I can select from my references the reference that I want to add. So I'll just choose any new one. How about this one? We'll just select one and just select the reference you want to add. And all you have to do is click Add to Paper. And then boom, just like that, it's now going to be added to your reference list, and it will show up in that preview, and it will show up when you export the paper. Now I have a new reference. That's all you have to do to add the reference to your paper. It'll be formatted in APA style. And then once I have all of the references added, when I'm ready to do my in-text citation, so giving credit to authors, where I got my information within my paper, then all I have to do is essentially click my mouse. See if I can find, just click your mouse where you want the citation to go. And then you have a few options. You can right click and choose Find and Cite Reference. You can also come up to your tools above here and choose Insert, Find and Cite Reference, or you can come directly below to your references here, and then you can select the reference from the list. And then all you have to do is click Cite. You'll just choose if it's parenthetical or narrative, and if it is a quotation. If it is a quotation, super helpful here, especially if you already have the quotation saved in the reference form, like I mentioned earlier. Makes it really easy to just drop that quotation right into your paper. But otherwise, you can just say no. I'll choose parenthetical, or actually, let's choose parenthetical, submit, and then it is going to format everything for you. It will keep track, if it requires an et al with your authors, comma, the year of publication, everything in parentheses, so that's how you would add an in-text citation after you have references added to your paper. So many things here that are helpful. Otherwise, let's see, I know we have just a few more minutes, and I want to make sure I get to all of your questions, but you can also add tables and figures. There's a tool for that. So if you're adding tables or figures to your paper, check out that over here. There are tech tools. So you can run these little reports or little checks on your paper. So things like checking the headings, the references, making sure references have been cited, word count, there's a report for the word count. So lots of helpful reports there. The collaboration that I mentioned briefly shows up in this tab here. So basically, if you create a paper, you can then add additional users to the paper, and you can also assign sections. So everyone has ownership over sections of the paper, so you can work on it together. And of course, once you are ready to turn the paper in, everything's complete, you can export. So over here on the left, choose export, and you can email or download. The download option, you can choose Word or PDF and just select download. I will mention that sometimes your browser might recognize this download as like a pop-up. So if it looks like nothing happened, just be sure to allow pop-ups from Academic Writer. And then also another important thing, browsers that are supported include Chrome, Firefox, or Safari. So definitely no Internet Explorer if that is even up and running anymore. I don't know. But yeah, Chrome, Firefox, or Safari. Okay, so with that, I know you've been listening to me go on and on for a while, but I really hope that this content is helpful, especially at the beginning of the semester as you're getting into papers. So what kind of questions in the last few minutes, if there is anything that I've left out or that you would like for me to demo, I'd be happy to.
Just quickly, could you show how to adjust the heading level if you add one in your paper?
Yeah, let me go back to, let's see, where am I? Close this. Okay, so please excuse this like very messy paper. So here's a heading level that I have. All I have to do is highlight it and then come up to this settings drop down. Once I click that, it's really great because this is straight out of the publication manual, so you can see how everything should be formatted. But once I click, it's going to automatically update that. So with if it's, italics, bold, if there's punctuation, it's going to update that there. So just highlight it and then choose headings, whoops, and then select the level that you need. And if you're unsure about, like how do you do those levels, check out this related help. There is a section on headings, and it also links you to a quick guide in the Learning Center. You go here to learn more. There's a whole quick guide that walks you through everything about heading levels in APA style. Okay. Anything else? All right. Well, I hope that this was helpful. Again, good job on you all just for coming to this in, your free optional time, and hopefully you learned something and that it will be helpful, not just this semester, but in the future, anytime that you are writing papers in APA style. We are here to help, so make sure to use that help link if you think of questions later on, or if something funky or weird is happening in your account, or you have trouble accessing your account, we can help you out. So welcome, site help, and then contact us there. But thank you so much for attending. We'll hang out for a couple minutes. So if anyone thinks of a question, yeah, we'll be happy to answer. But I hope everything goes well. Good luck with your papers and take care, everyone.